Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from unseasonably warm Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I am Dan.
And coming up today, we're getting to some end-of-year stuff.
It is, well, or beginning of year stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's
It's
our end of year.
We're fast approaching the end of the year 2015.
Yes.
It's
And
coming
so
to a close.
There's stuff that must be done.
There are things to
some
do.
housekeeping
Yeah.
in our lives.
Once you turn that odometer over, you gotta. There's some maintenance you gotta perform.
There's an impulse every year. We're programmed almost.
Yeah.
To want to change ourselves at the beginning of each new year.
Indeed.
So we're going to be talking
We'll get to that.
bit about that later on.
Yeah.
But first, of course, we have some news stories.
We do. Would you like to share one with us?
Yes, Dan.
How newsy can you get?
I would like to take us to the story of a Catholic priest who has been mishandling or misappropriating funds from the collection plate over the last 9 years to pay for a
Please say a Lamborghini.
No, a heavily muscled S&M master.
Oh, yeah.
To provide him with sexual services.
Yeah, Frank just showed me a picture, and he's yummy.
He's beefy.
Let me tell you something.
He's definitely beefy.
Okay, so what's funny is that here's my very first impulse on that. Oh, he's a beefcake for sure.
Yeah.
My very first impulse on this is like, oh, a priest who's not abusing children.
That's exactly that's my note right here. That's absolutely my note. I'm
like, yeah, get that man a hot stud so that he can find some outlet for his sexuality that doesn't hurt kids.
Apparently, $1 million has gone missing since about 2003.
Wow.
To fund drug-fueled sex nights with this dude, right?
Yeah. With Beefy McHotterson.
And this is what it says right here. This is my little note. It says, "This is what it costs to keep priests from little boys."
Yes. Exactly.
$1 million.
It's amazing. I just went and saw the movie Spotlight. Have you seen that one yet?
No.
About the whole the Boston Globe investigation that sort of pointed out that the emperor has no clothes with the whole church.
Oh yeah, okay.
Trying to cover up priests' bad behavior and stuff. And yeah, it's funny because now when we think of, like most of us, I think when we think of priests, like half of what we're thinking is like, keep your children away.
Well, yeah, what dirty little secrets do these men have?
Well, it turns out to be an actual phenomenon, like a psychologically valid phenomenon that priests.
Yeah,
a shockingly high percentage of priests.
There are some wonderfully salacious details that I still haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, sure.
Apparently, in 2012, he spent over $60,000 just for the drugs.
Okay.
And he also bought, same year, a $264,000 home.
Okay.
And was paying over $1,000 a month for the boy toys apartment.
Wow.
Okay, so this guy had this.
This is just a priest? He's not like a bishop or something?
No, it's just like some New York City big congregation. It sounds like he was over a couple of them. He had multiple plates to be dipping into. The suit, there's now a lawsuit, of course.
Brought by whom?
Brought by people.
By parishioners?
Yeah.
Do they have any say? I mean, like, my sense of, like, how a church works is that you give money and hope that they use it in a way that you approve of, because they don't have to report jack fucking shit.
See, now I don't know, but they are they are suing for sort of breach of fiduciary trust.
I see.
Negligent supervision, fraud, so forth and so on.
Okay.
But apparently, in the summer of 2014, maintenance workers at the church saw, quote, several unstacked piles of cash, each approximately 1 foot high, scattered throughout Father McKelly's rectory residence.
What?
So he was skimming like $20 bills at a time, like probably multiples at a time from each plate, and then, depositing the rest in whatever account. And so everybody's like, oh, okay, well.
And then taking it all home and Scrooge McDucking through it. Apparently just piling it in his room.
With that.
And like swimming with some hot man in money.
But anyway, he also apparently ripped off money from a fund to buy a new pipe organ for the church.
Not the organ. Well, I mean, he was using it on an organ, just not one that the congregation could enjoy with him.
And apparently he also put his boy in. He put him in charge of the thrift shop as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
put him to work.
And but here's the great thing. So the article ends with this line, and I have this is the part where I just kind of lost it. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess when they called the young man, he just hung up. But when they called the priest, the priest declined to answer the call through the church receptionist. He's still there.
Of course he is.
He's still on the job.
Yeah. You can't, I mean, honestly.
How is this guy? I mean, like,
you can't get these guys out of those. You can't get a guy defrocked these days.
It's unbelievable. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard enough to get frocked in the first place. Although not for this man.
No,
he was paying for his. Anyway,
yeah, he was getting his frock on for sure.
But anyway, I thought that was. I thought it was delightful. There are other sort of just needless details that I won't go into. Funny that you went to the exact same place I did.
Yeah, well, that's just
the obvious. It was kind of low hanging fruit, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how low it was hanging. We didn't see that in the picture. Anyway, I'm going to move us to Arkansas, that liberal bastion of Arkansas in these United States. That's a joke. It's very conservative, and one of the ways that we know that is so last month the FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, sent a letter to and this is kind of their goal in life, their main purpose for reason for existing is sending these letters to the Craighead County Assessor's Office regarding a metric fuck ton of crosses hanging in their offices.
What?
Just every goddamn where.
Okay.
There are crosses just hanging all over the walls and everything.
Okay.
They're in public view. They've got Bible verses inscribed on them. It's just it's just clearly they violated the law. So the FFRF got involved, and there was a little bit of a hubbub, and a local judge, I think, agreed with them, and so they had to take it all down. They took all the religious symbols down.
Okay, good.
There's a bit of a problem. They put them back up. Once the TV cameras left and whatever, they just plopped them right back up again.
Oh, wouldn't you know?
Apparently not understanding how, legal decisions work or how the Constitution works.
It's not just for show. Is that what you're saying?
Right. They apparently they said public service employees do not forfeit their constitutional rights by working in a public office. If the right that they think they're talking about is the right to hang up a cross, yep, they do. They do not have the right to hang a cross in a public in a public building like that.
people's understanding,
not how that works.
of like what their rights are,
Right.
is just it's just amazing to me.
Well, and people think that if they can just call it a right, if they can just assert that something's a right, then it is a right, and they have a right to do whatever they want.
Well, then I've got a lot of rights,
right?
People,
yeah. You know what?
Out.
Jesus said I can stone my wife to death for having an affair.
That's my right.
It's my God-given right.
As a Christian, I mean, why do I believe in this guy otherwise?
Yeah, honestly. I'm stoning my wife to death. You can't stop me. It's legal because I have the right.
Freedom of religion.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Nope, not how rights work. That is not how rights work. So anyway, there's another letter now from the FFRF.
Uh-oh.
It's like, yeah, they say, quote, when the government is an employer, it surely has an interest in regulating the speech of its employees while they are acting within their governmental role.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
like any employer.
Yes. Yes.
You can be fired from a job for speech.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't just put up a cross anywhere you want to.
You can get fired for things you post on Facebook.
Yes.
If you happen to say the wrong thing.
Right.
About either your company, your boss, some issue your company's involved in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of ways to put limitations on people's freedom
rights
of expression.
Their rights. Their constitutional
you know what?
rights.
You have every right in the world to hang that cross. We have every right to fire you now.
Right. Well, there's that. You have what you have the right to do is like believe what you want to believe. Mm-hmm. Hang crosses in your own home. I mean, how would they feel? Would they be full on supportive if a little Baphomet statue showed up? If some pentagrams started showing up on the wall, would they defend the rights of that employee? Because I'm thinking not.
Yeah, no, of course not.
We have the right to be Christian and to make sure everybody else is too. All right, moving on.
Well, I have a story about some people who felt strongly, we can assume, about their own Christianity. Decided to take matters into their own hands.
Oh, dear.
Because of this, Dan, this little bit of Arabic writing.
Okay, right? You're showing me a picture of a...
It's on the side of a house.
Yeah.
That's the eave of a house.
Yeah.
And there's this little placard that somebody...
Some weird-looking squiggles on it.
Yeah, somebody had hung up back in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
Onto this home.
So it's been there for a long time.
It's been there a long time. And the family that hung it up, a Pakistani family.
Sure.
They and I guess it says, what does it say in Arabic? It says, wishing you a peaceful welcome is what it says.
Those bastards. Those terrorist asshole bastards.
Well, fast forward to 2015 in this neighborhood of Townsville, Australia.
That's not a real...
Townsville.
Townsvilleton.
The city of Townsville.
The city... Yeah, okay. Go on.
Townsville City. Australia. Country. Anywho, some neighbors decided that they needed to set this house on fire.
Oh, good. Good.
And first vandalize it. They were caught while dispersing the gasoline.
Holy shit!
That they were going to light.
So they were able to catch them before
the new homeowner.
Oh, it's not even the original homeowner.
The new people who moved in, who are not Muslim, decided they knew the family, this Pakistani family, and were very fond of them. And they just decided to keep it up because that's something that they put up on this house. And it was just kind of, it reminded them of them. And they, it was just a nice thing to do,
Yeah.
And so it wasn't an expression of their culture, but they felt that it was a nice expression that they felt some connection to. And so they never took it down.
Huh.
So these vandals spray painted and did a lot of damage But they spray painted statements like, "Is this where you hide the terrorists?" on one wall.
Yeah.
On another one, it says, "Fuck your Allah."
Okay.
That's nice.
That's pretty.
That's just on like a closet door, it looks like.
Sure.
Huge puddle of gasoline. We'll fuck you up, whores.
Oh,
it says on another one.
Good.
And my favorite is "Go home."
You've written on their home.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well,
I did. Here I am.
Here we are.
I'm home.
What I love is they go through and they spray paint all this shit, and then they're going to set it on fire.
Right. They do not understand how vandalism works.
Yeah.
These people are not going to see your carefully chosen words. You've clearly put a lot of time and effort and energy into this, a lot of thought.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to burn it before anyone has a chance to see it?
Yeah.
Thank God they stopped them from burning that house.
Apparently it was about $50,000 in damages.
Yeah. Wow.
And, of course, now they're cleaning up and getting ready to move on. This kind of thing... you can put a $50,000, price tag on the damages, but this is a family that now all of a sudden doesn't even feel safe or even welcomed probably in their community. And strangely enough, they're not the from the minority group that was even being targeted.
Yeah,
they're from the majority group.
Yeah. Do a little research. That place has been up since 1980, blah, 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 boom. You can actually, you've got time to sort some things out before you go and burn it down.
Well, it clearly had been bothering someone.
You think? Maybe. That's possible. That is one conclusion we could jump to. I'm curious, if they were Pakistani, I wonder, is it Arabic or is it Urdu?
It could be Urdu.
Because they look very, very similar. I think
it's very possible.
The Urdu alphabet is an indirect. I guess it comes from the Persian alphabet, which then comes from the Arabic alphabet. So,
Dan, not being an expert in Middle Eastern or Middle Eastern derived languages, no.
I just wanted to sound smart. That's all. Don't worry. You don't have to have an answer.
I'm glad you looked that up on Wikipedia.
That's
did
nice.
Do that.
That's nice. I did do that. That's how you sound smart. How do you sound smart? That's what you do when you want to sound smart. No, I just got curious about that.
All right. Well, cool.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I'm going to take us to lovely Hawaii.
Ooh.
Hawaii.
La, la.
The island nation that's no longer a nation. The island state of Hawaii.
Yeah. It's an island with a king.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have a king anymore.
No, I know.
But they used to.
Did do.
They used to. And you know what else they used to have? And some of them still kind of do?
What?
Gods.
Oh, yeah?
Religion.
Religious gods?
They have religion, their own sort of fun, cute little religion.
Just adorable.
Yeah, I think they're just adorable. Less adorable now, though. Now that they've decided that Hawaii's Supreme Court has decided to pick those ancient pretend gods over science.
I beg your pardon.
So there were plans and a permit issued to build the 30-meter telescope, or TMT. A $1.4 billion observatory that would have better resolution than Hubble.
Wow.
This was going to be the new telescope.
Wow.
Basically, we'd be looking back in time.
I love it.
Into the distant corners of the universe.
Who knows what we could see with that?
Well, like planets and stars.
Who knows what's out there, Dan?
I mean, mostly it's just
God.
There's like nebulas and planets and stars and things.
The edge, the very edge of the visible universe.
Right. Well, unfortunately, they decided to build this thing on top of a mountain called Mauna Kea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dormant volcano.
Okay.
And it is a nice high point so that they can sort of see up into the skies, the heavens.
Yeah.
It is also, however, the home of deities, the fiery birthplace of all of life, according to native lore.
Okay.
So you can't build anything on there. You'll piss off the gods, I guess.
You'll piss off the people who believe in the lore.
Kia loa pisciota. It's like a Hawaiian Italian, I guess.
Okay.
A spokeswoman for the native Hawaiian organization Mauna Kea Anaya Ho said, "It's not a realm for mankind, but a realm where we go to learn the ways of the heavens." Yeah, that's what we're
Quite
trying
literally.
to do.
Yeah.
Learn the ways of the heavens. But no, they mean, the
Other kinds of
the
heavens.
magic folk.
Yeah. Fake heavens.
So, there's a bunch of trouble, and they don't know where to put the goddamn thing, and so, yeah.
That's so disappointing.
Point superstition.
I mean, so is that just how it works? You can decide that something is sacred, and then you get to thwart plans?
Well, kind of. I mean, here's the thing. There's this whole, I have an argument inside of myself about stuff like this.
Yeah.
You always hear about, you're desecrating, you can't build there because you're desecrating an Indian burial ground, or you can't, or there's a,
That's so tricky.
There's a heritage issue at stake.
Well,
if it's somewhere in Cambodia and they want to, take down an ancient Buddhist temple to make way for a superhighway or whatever, I would have a problem with that. But that's a heritage issue.
Right.
I don't think a mountain can count as heritage.
Especially since they're not destroying the mountain. They're not ripping down the mountain.
No,
they're just putting something up in there.
They're plopping something on top of it.
You know what, though? This is probably actually a dodged bullet, to be honest, because we know from at least movies like Poltergeist what happens when you build in Indian burial grounds. Wasn't that Indian burial grounds?
Yeah, I think so.
Or was that just that was just a cemetery. Just shit. Wrong movie. There's another movie that's about Indian
Pet
burial
Cemetery.
grounds. Was that Indian burial grounds?
I don't know. Let's just say yes.
Yes, it was. Well, those pets came back to life as little zombie pets.
If we build this telescope...
I haven't seen the movie. I'm just guessing.
Telescope is going... Yeah, I think that is what happens. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it either. But this telescope's going to come to life and start telescoping us.
I don't think that's what would happen.
It's going to look into our homes.
I think there would be serious construction problems.
Okay.
There would be a number of deaths on the construction site.
Yeah.
That's
just
traditional. Would be...
We just do that.
You can't spend that much money building something without somebody dying.
You got to kill one or two. Otherwise, where's the story?
And then, of course, there'll be some sort of haunted road. It's always people are veering off of and terrible accidents while the researchers and scientists are, driving back and forth from the facility.
And then do
they even have to go to the facility? Or is it like Hubble, literally, where you can just be remote in? And
I'm guessing most people would. I'm guessing somebody has to be at the facility.
Just polish the lenses or something.
Well, yeah, and maintain. I think maintenance is probably important.
Dust. They have to dust every once in a while.
Check the bolts for tightness.
Get out some of that air spray, the air gun thing.
Sure. A little WD-40 every now and then does wonders.
So stupid, though.
Anyway, so don't get too excited about seeing new nebulae anytime soon. Cause,
there's that one that they want to build on the other side of the moon, right? Aren't they doing that? Not build it on the moon, but launch it out there and it'd stay on the other side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon.
They should call that the Pink Floyd scope.
Indeed.
Anyway, if you have anything you'd like...
No!
Oh, there's more?
I have a story, Dan.
I started? I thought you started.
Don't you have another story then?
Don't I? I do. Let's keep going. Fuck it. I'm just going to... We'll just keep going.
Dan he's anxious.
I rearranged... You know what happened?
Excited
I rearranged the order of my stories on my laptop so that I would... Because I made a last-minute change, and I thought I was done, and I'm not. All right.
No. I've been staring at Donald Trump's ugly mug on my screen for a while.
All right, let's plow through.
I'm definitely doing this story.
Let's plow through.
I don't care what you do, Dan, but I'm doing this
fine.
Apparently, I'm not the only one tired of his ugly mug. Also are members of the Presbyterian Church, which he claims to be a member of.
Okay.
So he goes around, when people ask him about his religion, he says he's Presbyterian. But this whole issue ends up raising a very interesting point. But first, this whole thing about them wanting to kick him out.
What?
They feel that he is a bad example of what a Presbyterian is.
Okay.
He's racist.
Yeah.
For one.
That's true.
He's an Islamophobe.
Yes, that's also
for
true.
two. And he's just an all-around royal douchebag, which they try not to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
but I mean, like, so they've deemed him so bad that they want to give him the boot.
There's a group of Presbyterian top officials types, which is kind of, if you know anything about Presbyterianism, that's not exactly how it works.
And
there's no central organization, right? I mean, they're like they get together collectively. But the whole point of Presbyterianism is that it's decentralized.
Yeah.
Right. It's instead of being all centrally, manipulated and controlled like the Catholic Church or the Mormon Church, right? Which even takes it further than the Catholics. The Presbyterians are all about sort of your local leadership and your local stewardship of the Lord's flock, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right. So but it does turn out that a member of the Presbyterian Church can be kicked out in sort of a similar fashion as to like excommunication.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. They have to belong to a specific congregation.
Okay.
And so Trump is going around saying that that he's also Presbyterian, but there's no congregation that has him on the rolls. They know where he was baptized when he was a kid.
Yeah.
But they don't know, but nobody's claiming him. Because he hasn't been, like we were saying, probably ever.
Yeah, he's probably never been to church in his life.
He got baptized. His parents probably took him to a number of
Presbyterian in the sense that like his parents always told him, yeah, we're Presbyterian. In case you need to know what you are, that's what you are.
Well, and maybe when he was young, they did like, Easter and Christmas.
Right.
Maybe, right? But it's clear that the man hasn't been into a Presbyterian church in a very, 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 very long time.
Right.
And so
I wonder if you could, I want someone so badly to ask him how Presbyterians differ from other Christians.
Oh, yeah.
I would love that question to go to him.
Yeah. Can you explain to us why you're pandering to the evangelicals
when you're a Presbyterian?
when what your own faith tradition preaches has absolutely nothing to do with what they preach.
Right.
But you can add being Presbyterian to the list of his lies. I listened to On the Media like last week or the week before, I can't remember which one it was, where they were talking about how like sort of lies in politics and how Trump really takes the cake in this matter.
Sure.
They got like a huge list of statements that he had made over the course of like the prior few weeks or whatever.
Sure.
And it was like 90 some odd statements or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of them was true. Not one thing. They're basically saying that nothing that comes out of this man's mouth is true.
He doesn't make an attempt at truth. He doesn't care.
I know. But and they talked at length about sort of that phenomenon, how it's working for him and how strange it is because, there is a tradition of lying in politics, but it's the things that you lie about and the ways in which you lie about them that sort of you can get away with.
Right.
Right. and that people will forgive you for. The thing is, he's lying about stuff. People, his supporters, know he's lying.
Yeah.
And nobody fucking cares.
No, they like how he lies.
Yes.
They dig, like, the way he does it. I just went to PolitiFact and pulled him up. Because, they do a roundup. Like, you can click on the person themselves, and, like, it'll tell you of the things that they've checked. How many are true, mostly true, half true, mostly false, or pants on fire.
Yeah. He's pants on fire, right?
Well, no, I mean, most of his are false.
Okay.
He's got 29, so 39% of the statements that they've checked are just false.
Okay.
22% are pants on fire. 15% are mostly false. 0 of the things that they've checked are true. He's got 7% mostly true. Or half, and he's got some half true, but 0 come up as true.
Yeah. He's remarkable.
He's an amazing man.
I don't even know what
he is.
I'm completely flabbergasted.
He may be, in all of the worst ways that we hate, the perfect American. He may just be that. I'm not sure.
So he deserves the presidency?
God. I know. No.
He is our greatest achievement.
As the embodiment of what we are. We just have to. Now we have to elect him because he's
so perfectly.
We're just resigning ourselves.
Crassly, perfectly American.
Shit, that is us, isn't it? Okay, fuck. Well, I guess that's us. Sorry, world. Here we come.
Oh God.
We don't have to be. We don't have to be sure. We just know we're right. We don't have to like check things. I know I'm right. I believe it. There you go. All right, well, I've got one more story. It turns out I've got another story, Frank.
Oh, Dan,
I don't know if you know this.
No, I knew that you did.
Turns out I wasn't counting very well. Britain. You've heard of
Great Britain.
Well, it's pretty good.
Subjective.
I don't know. I'd say great. It's all right. It's fun. Actually, I would say great. I love Britain. Anywho, apparently there was a 2-year commission chaired by a former senior judge, a woman named Baroness Butler Sloss. Possibly one of the funnest names I've ever gotten to say on this show. I'm going to say it again. First name, Baroness.
Wait, that's her first name?
Last name, Butler-Sloss.
Baroness. That's not a title.
No, I don't think so.
Someone gave their child the name Baroness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
There you go. Anyway, maybe it's a title, and I just don't know how to read English, like British English or whatever. But the title is senior judge. Anyway, okay. She's a former senior judge, and there was this this commission that was set up. They did a study for 2 years and determined that Britain's not a Christian country anymore.
Really?
What they've come to is that there are enough people of other faiths and enough people leaving the Christian faith that they have determined that public life in Britain should be systematically de-Christianized.
What does the Church of England think of this?
They're not overly happy.
What does their head, the Queen?
I don't have a quote directly from Lizzie herself. Who, by the way, did you know that she is now the longest-serving English monarch ever?
Yeah.
Just barely passed that milestone a few months ago.
Isn't that crazy?
She beat out old Vicky.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, craziness.
I was at her Diamond Jubilee.
Oh, really?
I witnessed the flotilla of the Diamond Jubilee.
Oh, was it just majestic?
It was the largest flotilla that the Thames has ever had on it.
Dear God.
The Thames River just completely stuffed full of boats, which sounds exciting until you realize they're just boats and they're going slow.
Did the level of the water rise at all with all those boats in it?
There were floods everywhere.
Displacement of water? Huge, massive displacement?
Actually, that river has a massive displacement of water every single day.
Oh, that's
because
true.
it's a tidal river. It's a phenomenon I don't fully understand, but it rises
an estuary?
It's a tidal river.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, just as this conversation has been hijacked by that topic, the Church of England claims that the cabinet ministers have been hijacked by humanists.
Oh,
you see how I did that? I did a little thing there.
Whoa, no.
Yes, the humanists. The humanists.
Dear God, no.
Yeah. Anyway, so this report by the Commission on Relief and Belief in Public on Religion and Belief in Public Life.
Ah, yes, that makes more sense.
That makes a lot more sense. Claims that faith schools are, quote, socially divisive, and says that the selection of children on the basis of their beliefs should be phased out. So there are
faith school.
I'm guessing it's like schools like that are run by the C of E. Schools,
but publicly funded, maybe?
I think so, and I think that they're like some of the really nice schools are faith are like tied into churches, but they're public. I mean, the school system there is baffling to me.
So this is not a parochial school, because clearly, from a public perspective, who the fuck cares about parochial schools?
Right.
So these clearly must be. Wow.
And public schools in England have religious education as a required course.
Oh, do they?
Yes. So this commission also accuses RE syllabuses of sanitizing negative aspects of religion in lessons, and suggests that the compulsory daily act of worship in school assemblies should be abolished and replaced with a, quote, time for reflection.
They do. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I'm learning something about
the Brits.
Yes, that I did not realize.
How they do their service. Yes. Schooling should be. The children need to learn about the church that none of us really cares about.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
It's a time-honored tradition.
It is. You know, it's funny because you'd think that they'd be all like up in arms about that, but the Brits just handle it differently than here. Because here, like if they started teaching that much, if it was that Christian-y here, we'd be flipping the fuck out. But that's because we have evangelical Christians. Like that's a different brand than C of E. Where C of E, it's just like, of course we all know that that's true, but we don't care. None of that's actually of any importance to us.
Well, I mean, it is also a nation that has an official religion as well.
Indeed.
I mean, and that's its own sort of thing. And it's brought traditions,
kettle of worms,
along with it that everybody's just sort of used to. They don't find it strange.
Right. It's just what's
that's just
done.
That's just how it's been done. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, it makes... it's just surprising that in a public school that there would be that. But I mean, there was in the United States, daily prayer until, 50 years ago, 60 years ago? How many decades ago?
Yeah,
it took us a while to root it out, even though we didn't even have an official religion.
And we're still rooting. We're still trying.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty pernicious stuff.
True. Especially depending on where you are.
Yeah.
All right, well...
Tell us about your time in school, kids. You may have had some interesting religious experiences in school.
We want to know more.
If you did, go ahead and write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. We do love to hear your voice. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Indeed. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or while you're also on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Right. If you were on our Facebook page in the last little bit, you may have seen... and it's probably buried now. You'll never see it again, thank God. But if you were lucky enough to catch it in time, you would have seen a video that I did for the Mormon Church.
Oh, dear God. Funny.
As a teen actor, you would have gotten to see that. It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Congrats to you if you caught that.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break.
This is
Lou Dobbs.
We're going to hear some some real stupid shit come out of a panel of people's mouths on the Lou Dobbsy show.
But we need to set this up. They are talking about a zombie nativity that has been set up in the front of just a private home.
Somebody set up a nativity. It's all zombies.
It's all zombies. It is quite large. It's like life size, but it's all with like, figurines.
Right. And baby Jesus is also a zombie, as I recall.
Yeah, everybody in it's a zombie, right? And Jesus has got like fanged teeth and whatnot. So this is the panel. Lou Dobbs has just been talking about this, very upset about it.
Yes.
And he turns to the panel, and this is the conversation that they have.
And it came to pass that Jesus did look unto them and said to them, brains.
And the zombie Christmas, may I turn to that quickly?
Of course.
The zombie Christmas seems to me insensitive on the part of the couple who decided to do that for the nativity scene. Don't you think?
Look, I just think if you're going to have a display featuring beings who rise from the dead, I think Easter would be a more appropriate holiday.
That's true. Ooh. I never thought of that.
That's interesting. And I think if you're going to mock a religion, Joanne, I'm thinking they should have chosen the Islamic religion to see what would happen.
Well,
wouldn't that have been somewhat a display of courage as well?
They want to live.
There are just so many religions to choose from, and really, you should represent them all in your nativity display if we really want to be an inclusive society. But I appreciate this man doing this. He owns a haunted house. It shows his entrepreneurial spirit as well as his Christmas spirit.
Lou, I believe the beauty and strength of Christianity is that it can handle a little mockery like this.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's why we said God love them.
Lou Dobbs, that's why you said God love them.
Oh my God.
God love them.
Did anybody in that whole room know what the fuck was going on? Because they seemed to be all on entirely different pages. One guy makes a joke about it being more appropriate for Easter, which is pretty fucking funny, but really irreverent.
Yes.
And also, not exactly sensitive.
No.
And then the girl, the woman, I don't know who she was.
I don't know what she's on.
But yeah, apparently, like... She's calling for an inclusive society in which all nativities include all the religions. What the fuck are you talking about? And then Dobbs is just on some
He's
Islamophobic.
really pushing that agenda.
Right, exactly. Apparently he wants one.
Well, we should make fun of Islam.
Right,
we should do a nativity that makes fun of Islam.
Right. Oh, wait, we're making fun of religions? Well, obviously they chose the wrong one to make fun of. What they should do.
No, they didn't, because it's also the one that if you make fun of, nobody's going to shoot you.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, I think Dobbs's point was like, I dare you. He was like in double dog dare mode.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
It's crazy. Just crazy. These people. All right. Well, we had some folks write into us.
Indeed.
And I think we should chat with them.
Okay.
Let's see. Tiara wrote into us. Hi, Frank and Dan. I'm a little behind on your podcasts, and I have a question, and I'm seeking advice. Recently, my nephew of only 6 years has been hospitalized. He had to have a literally life-saving surgery after coming dangerously close to having his throat close due to swelling around his throat. He's fine now. After the surgery, my dad, while holding the cross around his neck, let me know that God had saved my nephew, and the only reason he didn't die was because everyone had prayed. I'm sure I rolled my eyes and gave him a dumbfounded look, to which he replied, "You pray to your God, and I will pray to mine." I replied with, "I pray to doctors and nurses who devoted 8 to 10 years of their lives just to learn how to do this." The conversation died after this. But I'm just so aggravated that everyone just bypasses the professionals who spend their life in this work to give all the credit to a magical man who hears your thoughts.
Yeah.
I guess my question is 2 parts. First of all, how do I show adequate thankfulness and gratitude to all the doctors, nurses, surgeons, and anesthetic professionals? Had trouble saying that word, apparently, who literally saved my nephew's life. Secondly, is there any way to thank everyone for their thoughts while still holding true that their prayer did absolutely nothing? Thanks for any advice you might have. Well, thanks for writing in, Tiara.
Yeah. As far as like thanking the doctors and what, say thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to discount what they do, but it's their job.
It's their job. They get paid okay to do that stuff. And the nurses maybe not. I mean,
nurses make okay.
They do.
And some make really good, depending on what they've sort of
But I mean, if you're feeling grateful, I'm sure that they appreciate, bring in a bunch of cupcakes.
Yeah.
Just drop it at the nurse's station or whatever.
They'll love you for it.
I think you're onto. I mean, I think that even the Christians know that the medical staff did amazing things, and they will thank the medical staff also.
A good portion of the Christians know. There are those who seem to very quickly forget it.
Well, yeah. But it's not like they're going to not thank the doctors.
Oh, no. For being the Lord's instrument.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The other thing, just about, thanking people for their support. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, just
thank them for all their support.
Just thank them. You don't have to, every conversation we prayed for your blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You don't have to call them on it every single time. No. You can just say thanks.
Your words of support were invaluable.
Right.
During this difficult time for our family.
Right.
Thanking
all
people. Your conversations and, well wishes were, greatly appreciated.
No, I will say this. It's also okay if you're in the moment of a really difficult time to request that people not talk to you about God. It's okay. Like if you, for instance, if your family member or loved one, if your spouse is in the hospital and people keep saying, I'm praying for you or whatever on Facebook, I think it would be okay to write, look, I thank you for your thoughts. Please, this is a tough time for me. If you could have just refrained from saying stuff about God to me, I would really appreciate it. It would be helpful for me. Mm-hmm. I think that's fine and appropriate. But if they've already started saying, hey, our thoughts and prayers are with you, hey, we prayed for you, all that really means, all they're really saying, they don't know that they're really just saying, I'm thinking about you. But that's all they're doing.
Right.
They're not they're not telling you anything about Jesus. They're just trying to say, I'm thinking about you and you're important to me.
Well, and I think one thing, though, that people are trying to say to you when they say we've been praying for you is that they are trying to fill you up with that hope.
Yeah, right? That's tricky.
About, hey, the Lord's looking out for you, so don't forget that.
Right.
And that's, I don't know, that's icky.
That's gross.
So but it's tough because you want to also give everybody their own space to deal with,
right?
Tragedy and difficult times in the way that best suits them, that they're best prepared, the way that they're prepared to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a tough time to be having conversations about God.
It's a bad time to have a conversation about God.
Yeah.
If you can at all avoid it, if you can deal with just brush it off and move on, then that's the best thing to do because it's the wrong time to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So I would say that there are two ways to approach it. Either they say the stuff about God and you just brush it off and you let it roll off your back. Mm-hmm. Or they say the stuff about God and you very kindly, you as gently as you can muster in that moment say, that kind of stuff doesn't actually comfort me right now. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you believing that. And I encourage you to find comfort wherever you can. But that isn't comforting for me. Yeah. So I'd appreciate it if when you're talking to me,
right,
that's not where we go.
Right.
And if but don't try to resolve the question of whether prayer works, the efficacy question. Don't don't try to resolve
too close to the surface.
Yeah, don't try to resolve anything about don't get into an argument about whether God exists or not. Just try and make the conversations as comfortable for everyone as possible in the moment.
Not what I need right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool.
I think we have a voicemail, do we not?
We do have a voicemail. This caller is responding to something that we said about collections and collecting.
Oh, yeah. We started talking about how if you accidentally collect 2 or 3 of a thing,
better watch out.
You might end up being a collector.
So he shares his story.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Desert Dave down in San Antonio again. I was just listening to the part of the podcast about the collectibles. I had a similar situation when I lived in Saudi Arabia. My wife and I used to like to buy the Starbucks cups from destinations that we actually went to. And I had started first with a couple of cups that I just happened to like that were Starbucks, and exactly the same thing happened. We have about 60 or 70 cups from Starbucks, many from destinations that we've never been to, don't intend to ever go to, or if we did, we want to get our own cup. And coffee presses from the collectible edition and every kind of Starbucks coffee container imaginable. And we don't have any idea what to do with it. It's fucking crazy, but what do you tell somebody? They buy you a $30 coffee cup. You know, oh, no, I don't want that. It was all a mistake. So now we are Starbucks memorabilia collectors. Take care, bye.
Well, there you go.
That's the risk you run.
Yeah, if you
buy more than one of a thing.
Right, if you buy 3 of an odd thing, you may end up with 50 of an odd thing before you're done. Sorry about that.
But we all know what to get Dave for Christmas.
That's right. Dave, we're sending you the TGIA Starbucks Special Edition cup. That doesn't exist, and we're not going to send you anything.
No. Thank you.
But thanks for calling in. Chris wrote to us from Melbourne, Australia.
Ah, Melbourne.
Oh, you Aussie, you down under. One thing that's come up a few times recently in your podcast is the notion of, quote, respecting the person, if not their beliefs. I think it initially came up when talking about some personal attacks that were happening in the Facebook Members Only Lounge, and has since been mentioned a few times in other contexts as something you both agree on. I've got no problem with the internet etiquette side of it, and totally agree that abusing or bullying other forum members is out of line. I recognize that ad hominem attacks are a common logical fallacy that people resort to when they're losing an argument. I do, however, struggle with the concept of respecting a person who espouses some shitty ideology. It seems highly likely that if I don't respect that ideology, I won't respect the person in general. An example Sam Harris once gave was that of a Holocaust denier. The fact that they would even go down that road of inquiry speaks volumes about what kind of person they are. I can't see how you could put that mindset or that aspect of their life to one side and have a general respect for them, especially when you only know them through their beliefs, as is the case with an author or someone on an internet forum. I accept that not everyone lives and dies by their beliefs, and that many people have wacky, non-scientific, or irrational beliefs that are relatively harmless. For example, astrology. That's something I can live with. But when it's the main focus of someone's life, such as in the case of Orthodox or fundamentalist religion, I can't see my way to respecting them as people. As people, they're deeply religious, which I don't respect. Maybe I've got it all wrong, and you just mean respect in the sense of being civil and respectfully disagreeing. But it would be great if you could discuss this further.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay, Chris. The last bit kind of did sum it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the idea is that, like, people in general sort of deserve just a level of civil treatment. Just on the basis of them being folks.
Yeah. Politeness.
But it's not just about that. There's something more to it. I mean, people, even when their beliefs are terrible, I feel like there's something about humanity. They've come to these beliefs they've come to them through some process. This is where it gets tricky. I know I'm sort of stepping into some murky water here.
Yeah, I think you are about to go further than I would want to go. But
right, and I think I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think I've been obsessed lately. I think I may have said it on the show. I don't know. But I've been obsessed lately with how deeply flawed we human beings are. As in general, as a species, we have these enormous prefrontal cortexes. We're capable of so much in terms of logic, in terms of reason, in terms of exploring the universe, in terms of creation of things. And yet, the second an emotion even like happens to tickle the side of a thought, our ability to be logical and reasonable gets fucked up.
Yeah.
we're not creatures of reason and logic. We are creatures that have the capacity for reason and logic and then also get fucked up. Mm-hmm. And it's super easy to do, and smart people believe stupid shit.
Right.
So I think, to me, I have a level of further respect based solely on the fact that I know we're all just bumping around here doing our best.
Sure.
And I'm certainly not going to engage with certain people, and I'm not going to choose to be around certain people because if every time you get around somebody they're like, the Holocaust was fake, right? I'm going to be like, that's a crazy belief, and I know that I'm not going to be able to talk you out of it, and I'm just not going to hang out with you.
Right.
But that, I can be with someone who's a religious person and know that brilliant minds can believe deeply in very, very flawed ideologies, and know that person still has a lot to offer me.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Sorry, or could have a lot to offer me. I'm not saying everybody does have a lot to offer me. I'm saying that someone could have a lot to offer me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as what you're doing is you're going into situations, assuming the best from others. You're assuming good intentions.
Yeah, I don't think we have to assume the best. I assume that most people have some pretty shitty things about them.
No, but like you're looking for the best,
right?
In the people,
right,
that you're encountering in your life, and that's an admirable thing.
Yeah,
and that's a great approach. But at the end of the day, when somebody consistently fights against your rights or speaks out against who you are, and I mean, things about you that are, fundamental. Maybe it's, somebody who's, publicly fighting against gay rights.
Right.
And so in my case, right. That's what that person has decided to really do with their life and their persona.
Right.
Right. And so I don't know that they deserve my respect as a human being. I can respect their humanity.
Right.
I can respect the fact that they have rights. I can respect the fact that they, deserve health.
Right.
But
you don't have to hang out with them.
They don't deserve my respect. They don't. I don't feel the need to. And I think that's what. What was the
Chris?
I think that's what Chris is getting at with the last line here.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know, like, I think it's about being respectful rather than just issuing out respect to everybody just because they're a human being and we acknowledge that they're deeply flawed.
Right. Well, one of the things that Chris clearly was talking about, Chris was saying that if they're deeply religious, he has trouble respecting them. And I would say there are things about a lot of people that I know that I don't respect.
Right.
There are beliefs that they hold that I don't respect. There are, and here's another thing for me. The belief that you hold is less important to how I respect you than how you live with that belief. So, and also how you arrived at that belief. So if someone, I can talk to a conservative person, I'm a pretty liberal guy. I can talk to a conservative person, and if they are thoughtful, and if they have been, and if they are paying attention, and if they are well informed, and they're honest, and they've just come to a different conclusion than I have, fine. I think that's great, and I can have a really interesting discussion with that person.
Right.
If they are knee jerk, if they are reactionary,
ditto heads.
On either side, I also cannot talk to liberals who are like that. I can't talk to people who are like that. I have no respect for them.
Dan,
ta-da!
No respect.
I did it.
What?
I disrespect them. I did it. I got to that point. But the point is, so I mean, they do have the inherent respect of humanity, yes, and I respect their humanity in the same way that you described,
right.
but I'm just saying that, like, having conservative views, having religion, these in my mind do not disqualify a person from respect. It's how they act on it. So, for instance, a person like Bill O'Reilly, if I ever meet him, I will challenge him to a fight. I don't know why. I just really want to punch that man in the face. I
guarantee he has a longer reach than you.
Oh, he'll wipe the floor with me. If I get one, he's much older than I am, and yet he would easily beat me up.
There's no doubt.
I don't care. He's a meaner man. He'll kill me. But if I get one punch in, I will feel like I've done humanity a service.
Oh.
But that's not because of his conservatism. Or his religious belief. It's because of how he deals with his...
He's a raging douchebag.
It's because he's an asshole and a liar, and he hurts my country.
And he does it just for the sake of his show.
Yeah, he does it for ratings and money. That's why he does it. He doesn't do it for ideological reasons.
Right.
Fuck. Yeah, he's an ideologue because it pays.
If he was instead your neighbor who didn't have a TV show...
Right. Then he's just a raving guy that lives next door. I don't need to fight that guy.
But what if he was just the same level of douchebag?
No, he can't be. He doesn't have a forum.
He doesn't
hurt my country by doing it. He doesn't have a forum where he trains others to be douchebags like himself.
Right. Yeah, all right.
That's where I draw the line of who I'm going to punch.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, so we had a couple of people do some donations on the PayPal.
Yes.
I wanted to, I'll get to the PayPal ones. We had Amy, who gave us a few bucks just because she was making up for the Patreon amount that we missed last month.
Oh, that's sweet.
That was very, very sweet of Amy. And Kimberly gave us a one-time donation as well. So thank you both. So that's the PayPal ones, yes. And you've got the Patreon donors.
And unfortunately, we don't have any.
Oh, dear.
No new ones.
No new ones for this week. One of the things that we should talk about is that you, listener, may have heard an advertisement at the beginning of this show. You may or may not have. It seems to be a little bit spotty, but you may have. Yeah. And we did not explain any of that to you.
And it could be a big national ad, too, that you heard. Not like... So, anywho, what we have done is we changed over to a new host service for the podcast.
Right.
And we did so because these are some folks that we met at the podcast convention.
Movement convention, yeah.
That we went to a few months ago. And they were good folks, and we were talking to them about their service, and they were energetic about this podcast, and really just there was a great conversation about, how we might be able to, get more listeners,
right.
and then they seem very supportive, and they've got a great active community. And so we finally got around to switching over hosts, and I checked the revenue stream checkmark box thing, and said, yes, of course we'd like to make some money off this. I didn't.
Well, and one of the reasons that we made this switch was because these guys, they do try and help us make some revenue,
absolutely,
by doing ad placements. So,
right. And so
they're just fulfilling their part of our bargain.
They absolutely were, and in fact, way quicker than I would have expected.
Right. We weren't anticipating that it would just happen.
Be instantaneous. So that's what that is. We're ironing out details at the moment as to like what is it going to really look like long term. So if you do have to sit through some ads for car insurance or whatever. Or there was a fast food chain, I think we heard one for.
Yes.
So there's stuff like that, big national ads.
So hopefully that's not too big an issue for you. If you have some response that you'd like to let us know, you can write to us and let us know how you're responding to it.
Scale of 1 to 10. How annoying do you find it?
And
10 being thoroughly annoying.
And do you mind us
completely benign?
We're just trying to offset the cost of this thing a little bit here, people. That's all we're trying to do. But anyway, thank you all. Thanks to the donors. That still is a vital part of what we do.
Yeah.
Even with the commercials and everything, we still need our donor base. It's very, very, very important to us. But we love you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Resolutions.
Okay. New Year's resolution.
That's what we're going to talk about.
It's coming up.
The year will be new ever so quickly. Yeah. And we wanted to just discuss
when we've done this before, this idea of, we've talked about setting goals at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's an interesting tradition, and one that I do. I don't know. I'm not much of a resolution setter. You are.
Here's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I like the idea of setting resolutions.
Yes.
In as much as I understand the word resolution in this context to be goals.
Okay.
Okay. And there is something really nice about this happening right after that awful winter solstice.
Why is that awful?
Because I get really sad and depressed in the lead up to the shortest day of the year.
Right. As it gets,
and I do. I get extremely blue, and I'm very tired.
Yes.
All the time, and I have. Whether or not it's showing, I feel sad face.
Aww.
Do you know what sad face is, Dan? Have you ever walked around and you're just like, my face is, I feel sad. in my face. My cheeks don't feel right. My eyes feel heavy.
Oh.
I just feel sad.
That's
right?
rough.
I know, it's awful.
Nobody wants sad face.
At 4:00 in the afternoon the other day, I'm getting ready to wrap up at work.
Mm-hmm.
I was just so fucking tired.
Uh-huh.
I went home and slept for an hour and a half.
That'll happen.
Nap. I don't take naps.
Oh.
But I turned the TV on and I watched a few park and recreations and a delightful show.
Oh yeah.
So much fun. And then just napped through them. So I don't know what happened in the middle of the second season.
By the way,
don't tell me.
I'm going to take a quick sidebar on that because you just reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Faithful listeners will remember that me and a writing partner won the No God But Funny writing competition, for which we just went to Los Angeles and had a reading of our winning teleplay for our sitcom.
Oh, how fun!
Which included the guy that plays Jerry on Parks and Rec.
No way.
He was the dad in our little sitcom reading.
Hey, that's
how cute is that?
That's really cute.
How fun is that,
Jerry?
So
that's awesome.
Cool. We had a minor celebrity.
Fun.
That was it. Who, by the way, was the only theist in the reading?
Oh, really?
An actual Christian playing the Christian dad. So that worked out well.
All right. Well, cool. Well, where was I?
Back to resolutions.
So anyway, I've just been sad, and so I feel myself waking up and pulling out of it almost immediately upon the days starting to get longer again.
Interesting.
Right? It's the weirdest thing. I hate it, but it's totally predictable that sometime a little bit before Thanksgiving, but definitely after Thanksgiving, it's just a really bad 3 to 4 weeks. Every year now, and I hate it.
There you
go. Anyway, so there's something really nice that on this little uptick, when life starts to become bearable again, that I'm thinking about what do I want to do with my life over the next year.
Right.
And so it's more just an opportunity. It's a topic that's out there. I hate that some of these that will invariably make the list, which is, adding some sort of physical fitness activity to my life.
Yeah.
Does mean that I would have to fight the crowds at the gym for all the people who made a similar resolution.
The January rush.
Yeah.
That quickly dissipates when everybody's goals fail.
Yes. But I am determined this year to find some sort of fitness routine for myself.
Well, I was having a conversation about resolutions with a friend of mine, and we were talking about how they always fail, how they're inevitably going to fail. It's almost a lock. And she was pointing out that she
that makes me very sad about some of these, Dan.
Well, we'll get to it, but she had this interesting notion that instead of, because what happens is you say, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
That's my resolution. And you do it for the first month. You get it, 4 weeks in a row, you've got it down. And then when, something catches up with you and you're like, oh shit, I got to skip this week. I only went once this week. And then you go back and then you have another couple weeks where it's like, oh, I didn't do it at all. Oh shit, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as you don't do it like once, you fail, the whole resolution just crumbles and you just stop.
Yeah.
So her new thing is instead of a resolution to do a specific thing like go to the gym 3 times a week, she takes a much more sort of global approach to it, where not global meaning like she wants the whole world to go to the gym, but global in the sense of like it's a much bigger, broader tent. So she says, I want to be in better physical health, and I'm going to find some ways to do that.
Right.
And it's not about like I have to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Or I've failed.
Right.
Because the second you give yourself an opportunity to fail, you give yourself an out for the resolution.
I think
psychologically.
I think it's more that a lot of these resolutions are really about forming new habits. And forming new habits is incredibly difficult. In fact, it's the kind of thing that you do automatically fail at, right, for the most part. And so she is going down the right road because she's thinking of it in broader terms. It goes back to what I was talking about, setting goals for the year.
Sure.
Because goals are multifaceted. If you say, in continuing with this example of getting yourself into, better physical condition, you have a list of things, a list of different approaches that can be, sort of your different strategies for achieving that bigger idea.
Right.
Right. But, do you want to hear some of my others, or do you want to share one before?
No, you dive right in.
Well, I have learned to make ravioli.
Okay.
Right.
That's an achievable goal.
Totally achievable.
Yeah.
Right. That would actually be more of a strategy or an action item, maybe under a goal that says become a better cook.
Improve my cooking ability.
Right. But I didn't do that.
Sure.
I kept this as just like one little thing.
Okay.
I want to learn to make ravioli. And in the process, unwittingly, I will become a better cook.
Indeed.
And take more naps.
Okay.
Because I've discovered naps. I turned 40, and all of a sudden I feel like taking naps.
You're an old man.
I hated naps for the first 40 years of my life.
Well, it's a new leaf.
And now I'm enjoying naps.
Okay.
I want to cure my dog of his anger issues.
Okay.
Which manifests in biting people that he doesn't know. And so I need. That's not even a want. That's a need.
That's a legal responsibility.
He hasn't hurt anyone.
Well,
he's drawn a little bit of blood. He's a little dog.
That counts as hurting someone.
Right, but he didn't, rip off flesh or tear off an arm or maim or disfigure.
I still feel like you've got a liability on your hands.
He nips at knees is what he does.
He's a little knee nipper.
And I feel like it's time. This might be the year to get Frank a boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It's time.
Sure.
I spent 2015 single.
Yeah.
Why not make 2016 the year of companionship? I mean, if I learn how to make that ravioli,
you're golden.
And my dog doesn't bite the first guy who comes along.
Right, exactly.
Then,
I definitely think that the order you go in has to be boyfriend last.
Yeah, because
dog and ravioli first.
And the gym.
Yeah, all of those things will contribute to boyfriend.
Naps, so I'd be more restful.
And not grumpy.
Yeah, that might be okay.
Yeah.
So next December,
maybe you'll have you'll be able to start
It's not
seeking
gonna
them.
happen.
You're never going to get a boyfriend.
Daniel! That is just rude.
I kid.
You can't kid.
Okay, I'm sorry.
40-year-old and gay, it's not.
That's true. That's like 80 in gay years.
Yeah.
It's not
Untouchable.
Nice. Yeah.
The pariahs.
You are
of the gay
unclean.
community.
You are stricken with the old.
Yeah.
Unclean.
I don't look old.
No.
I don't feel old.
No, I think that's the dirty secret, is that you never feel old.
Yeah.
It's just that everybody else, you don't judge yourself as old.
Perceive you as being
It's just
old.
everybody else is like old, and you're like, what? Me? Never. Ow, my back. Like, that's just how that works. Yeah, I don't really have resolutions, but I wanted to think about.
So
like,
I'm the one out in the lurch here.
No,
with some resolutions.
Here's where I went with this. I decided to start to think, because I don't know. I mean, like, I have goals. I have I'm going to be finishing up a screenplay that I was writing, a feature film, and hopefully shopping it around, and stuff. So that's a goal that I have. But in terms of New Year's resolutions, I wanted to come up with something that I can do and that I would want to suggest might be an interesting thought for our listeners as well. So I'm getting more general than just like sort of what my life is. You disapprove already?
I want to hear some personal goals. That's all.
Well, you don't get to.
Things that are new for this year, not something that you're working on. Because I have things I'm working on.
Yeah.
These are new things that you want to do with your life in the year, but you didn't come up with it until now.
That's not what I'm doing. That's not where I'm going with this. You can't bully me into it. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing.
All right, Dan. You just changed the rules on me, so I should have.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had rules. We didn't have rules.
You said we're coming up with resolutions.
These are my resolutions.
Okay, let's hear it.
My resolutions are: I want to learn to hear others who disagree with me better, and more. I want the withering look that Frank just gave me. I propose what I believe to be a noble goal, and Frank is now completely off his nut about it. I don't know what your deal is. I don't know what I think that's a good goal. I want to be able to. I want.
Keep going.
I'm sorry.
No, it is a great goal.
I'm trying to respect the world.
Just keep going,
Frank.
Keep going.
Jesus
Right,
Christ.
keep going.
No, now I don't want to.
No, share all your goals, please. I'm ready.
I want to hear why you're responding the way that you did to what I just said.
It's just like, I don't know. I just think it's funny. I'm like, learn to make ravioli and take more naps, and you're just like, it's just this. I want to learn to listen to people and really hear what they're having to say, and this and that. It was just a funny juxtaposition of like.
I didn't make fun of ravioli. Jesus Christ.
Because ravioli are amazing. And homemade ravioli, Dan?
I've made ravioli. I know how to make ravioli.
Okay, I'm sure they're great.
Some of us have already achieved that one.
Oh, well, great.
Boom.
This isn't about... Well...
No, I'm sorry. I
it's
apologize.
not a competition,
I
Dan.
apologize. I was making fun of your goals, and as we know on this show...
Clearly,
you're the one that makes fun of my goals, not the other way around.
Clearly, I agree. You do need to learn how to hear people more. That's a great thing to work on.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know. Here's my goal. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bounce off of the hear others more. I'm gonna make a goal to get some religious people onto our show and have some interesting discussions.
That's a great goal.
That will be my goal.
I like that goal. And then you can sit there and you can try to really hear what they have to say.
That's what I'm gonna do, Frank. That's
what else
exactly
do you have on your list? Because you just came up with that one. That's not on your list.
It is my list. That is on my list.
That's on your list?
Yes, but
no,
fuck my list.
Okay.
It's on my... But now you're... Fuck you.
Dan. No, I'm sorry, Dan.
You ruined it.
No, come on. Tell me the next one. I want to hear the next one.
It's all stuff like that.
Then I won't laugh at the next ones. Okay? Just tell me.
I also want to learn to... because here's the thing. when I'm in conversation with another person, I want to learn to better, and this is along the same lines. This was sort of under the umbrella of better communication, but I wanted to learn to curb my own reactionary impulse.
Was that just targeted at me?
No, you wanted to hear the rest of my list.
Okay. No. Keep going.
Jesus Christ.
Keep going. I felt that was mildly targeted at me. And so I was like, okay, what's the next one?
That's basically it. Like, this was what I wrote those down as the idea of, like, I was going to go into a larger discussion of that. Like, that's the thing. That's what I was talking about.
I think that's great.
Wanting to.
This loops back around to the email,
right?
I mean, that's
yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like, I would because and again, I've been sort of obsessing lately about how humans we're not good at all of this logic and reason stuff. We're good at it when we're unencumbered emotionally. I just want to be. And here's the other thing that I wanted to say about communication, which is that I didn't get to say when we were talking about that email, and that was that if you bring the best of you to a conversation, even when somebody else isn't bringing the best of them, when someone's talking from sort of very reactionary place, when they're talking from a very angry place, when they're talking from all of these things, I think bringing the best of you, not being reactionary, wanting to hear what they have to say, and not saying, not react, not immediately like, aha, you're wrong and here's why, but rather, actually, just saying, I'm interested in that. I feel like there may be some, I want you to help me understand this better. And just coming at it from a much more caring, loving place, actually will oftentimes, I'm not going to say every time by any means, but frequently in my life, I have found that when I've actually had the wherewithal to do that, you end up getting so much better response out of them. And when you talk directly to the best of them from the best of you, you have a much stronger conversation. So that is my goal.
All right.
And you made it through all of that without laughing once.
It was a small miracle, Dan.
It was amazing.
I was working very hard.
I know.
Because I'd lost control.
I know.
Half of it wasn't even about the thing anymore. It was about the fact that I couldn't control my laughter.
Well, there you go.
Good God.
Anyway, that's where we stand, folks. If you've got some resolutions, if you think that you've got a creative approach to New Year's resolutions, I'd like to hear it. I think that might be an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, sure.
So go ahead and write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or tell us about it with your voice.
Yes.
Call in. The number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. There's fun stuff on the webs. If you go to the Facebook page, that's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. And eventually Dan will let you in.
Yeah. So there you go. Hey, thanks to Mackenzie for all her hard work on the Facebook page.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thank you, our dear fine listener, for your tuning in to us.
Once again.
Bye. Bye-bye, guys.